What time do you look to? We'll be like for more. That's why they are not finishing them. That's what I think.
Thank you all for joining. Good morning. Um, let's wait for some few more people to join before we kick off. Thank you.
From not very that. Because
Right, so good morning, everybody. Good morning to everyone, and we are welcome to the first edition of Momentum to Achieve. My name is Marjorie Lamte Mensah. I am a content strategist, an administrative assistant, as well as a voice-over artist. And I'm really excited to welcome all of us on board for the first edition of Momentum to Achieve. Over here, we're going to be impacted. Over here, we're going to be ignited. Over here, we're going to be propelled. And for those of us who are on the official WhatsApp platform, I mentioned that don't let this be another, webinar that you attend and it passes by. Make sure you get the most out of each speaker's presentation. Do well to put down all your questions that will be relevant, and do well as well to network in the right way. So without much ado, I once again welcome you all together with the speakers right here on the first edition of Momentum to Achieve. I'll kindly hand over to the moderator, Amina. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marjorie. Good morning to everybody on, especially to our resource persons and distinguished guests who are ready to have a momentum to achieve in this year 2026. This year, we believe, is going to be a productive year, and this we claim to be a success year for us well. And so thank you all for joining this event. And it's 11:13, and we hope to finish this as soon as possible. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Get your pens and paper, your notepads, your iPads, and jot down their meaningful conversations, insightful themes, and all the relevant things that you are going to get from this meeting. And don't forget that this is brought to you by Pathfinders of Tomorrow in collaboration with Captain Larry Legacy App. Thank you so much for putting this initiative together. And don't forget that with today, we are gathered here to explore the powerful theme, which is unlocking capacity, activating purpose, and driving impact. Our main aim is for us to ensure that we make sure that this year becomes a year that will drive our enthusiasm, that will propel us forward like never before. Because like any other year, we keep saying, I have a goal, I have a dream, I have an aim, and sometimes we write them down, but we are unable to achieve them because of several reasons. And so with our dear speakers who have taken time, prepared and ready for us to pour in us, so that whatever that is in it, whatever that we need to do to make 2026 a success, we would be propelled to do that. And so we want to thank you all for making time for the event. We just got started, and we encourage you all to feel free and also make down your notes, as well as encourage your friends, families, and partners to join this conversation. It's Momentum to Achieve 2026, and we go on. And so for our welcome address, with no other than our host, I want to invite Captain Larry to give us the welcome address, ladies and gentlemen. On to you, Captain Larry.
We want to use this opportunity to welcome each and everyone for coming on board. And please put down your pens and paper, put down questions to which you use to take you to the next level. This life is all about becoming, and I believe with what our speakers have on board, we'll grab the wisdom that they have, the experience that they have, so that we can use it in our life, so that we can become who we want to be in future. So I'll hand over to our moderator.
Thank you so much, Captain Larry, for this wonderful welcome address. We'll quickly move on to our first speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to mention our first speaker because personally, I call him teacher or sir, but he doesn't want that. And with his name, he holds the personality of an elderly man who eschews wisdom, knowledge, and propels, let me say, people before him and after him to do so much well. And with people of such names, they only come to make history. And he is an history maker. Who am I talking about? This man is a builder of voices and a champion of African excellence with a foot in media, and he does so well in research. With a heart rooted in people's development, it continues to inspire, educate, and amplify. For over a decade, he has combined passion, purpose, and professionalism to shape narratives, build voices, and empower individuals, communities, and institutions across Ghana and beyond. Whether behind a camera lens or on top of stage or in his mission remains clear: to help people find themselves innately, be purposeful, and for organizations, communication to communicate with confidence, clarity, and conviction. He has led across sectors, countries, and trained over 2,000 individuals, including corporate executives, maritime professionals, educators, journalists, youth leaders, beauty queens, and students across Ghana and West Africa, of which I am no exception of. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to see the emoji with the emoji. Ladies and gentlemen, show me the emoji, the applause emoji, and let's welcome our first speaker, Mr. Efo Koko Mauto. Efo, good morning.
Good morning. Amina, how are you?
Efo, I'm humbled, and by God's grace, we are doing well. And we are happy to see you this morning to exchange some knowledge from you.
Amina, you're not seeing me. You're only hearing my voice. Or you can see in the spirit.
Efo, we can see you because with your words and the things you are able to do, it's more than just hearing. And so we are just excited to meet you.
You go vibe me, son. One of these days, I'll just fall for you. Anyway, thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you to Captain Larry and your team for putting this together. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. So, by way of a reminder, I want any of us on the call to share with us the theme for Momentum to Achieve. That is to see if you are really, really interested in being here and if you are here to achieve. So anybody at all, whether in the chat box or you want to unmute and speak to me, let me know what is the theme for this discussion, this morning's conversation. And for this, Amina and none of the team members from Larry's team can participate in this. I want somebody who is just on the call to share, to listen, to tell us a theme. Anybody?
Unlocking capacity, activating purpose, driven impact.
Unlocking what?
Capacity.
Capacity.
Activating purpose.
Activating purpose.
Driving impact.
And driving impact. Unlocking capacity, activating effort, and driving impact. And so you look at the theme. Yeah, you look at the theme, and there are a few key things that I believe we should take note of that, for me, would give us the momentum we need to achieve, right? And for me, one of those things is unlocking. To unlock. To unlock means that the thing has been locked. It's hidden, or even if it's not hidden, it's inaccessible. And if it's inaccessible, it means that you have no chance to get it. But then there are times that you need the thing, only you have no opportunity to get it. So you need to unlock it. And many a time, we need to unlock our own capacity. We need to unlock systems that are around us. We need to unlock mindsets that can allow us enter into spaces that we can achieve. So if we would acquire the momentum to achieve, then one of the key things for me is to unlock our own capacity, unlock systems around us. Sorry for the break-in. What I was saying was, my belief, my understanding is that if you are going to have the momentum to achieve, then one of the things you need to do is to unlock systems, unlock mindset, and unlock your own capacities, your lifestyle, your way of doing things, and your way of seeing the world. Of course, the other thing that we need to do then is to activate our purpose. But you cannot activate that which you don't have or you haven't found. So to activate your purpose, you first of all need to find it. And so I'm going to touch a bit on finding your purpose and then driving impact. I would have added driving impact and making money, because those things I believe move together. I believe that we live in this world for two things: to make impact and make money. So if we are going to be able to unlock our capacities and activate our purposes, I believe that those two actions, unlocking the capacity and activating the purpose, should lead us to make impact and make money. So those are the key things I'm going to talk about. Again, to give us some background into what I'm going to share with us maybe in the next 15 minutes, I want us to also dissect a little bit the topic, the name for the conference we're having today: momentum to achieve. And there are two key words in there: momentum. Momentum, if you take it on the surface level, just English language, momentum is a force, right? It's a force that can push you or can pull you. It can press you down or it can prop you up. Either ways, momentum is a force. It's an external force that can act on an object, right? And then achieve is to reach a goal, right? To get to a certain stage that ordinarily not everybody is able to get to. So achievements are not ordinary things. Achievements are not available for the things that everyday people can do. We don't call them achievement. So to call something an achievement, it then means that it is not something that everyday people are able to do. It is not common to everybody. What it means, therefore, is that it is left with it is a giving, or it's something that people who are able to do are considered highly. They are held in high regard. So then what it means for us in this discussion is to have the momentum to achieve something means we need some kind of extra force that will help us reach stages that ordinary persons are not able to reach, to do things that everyday people are unable to do. Okay, and that reminds me of something I read way back. I think I'm not remembering the exact book, but I'm sure it was one of John C. Maxwell's books, where he said something, or the author said something about, if you want to be part of the 1% of the world who are the top achievers of the world, then you cannot do what the 99% are doing. You must do something different. And so that's something different for us to do, I believe, is to find the things that we need to unlock, to activate our purpose, first of all, by finding it, and then to work for impact and for money. Because I don't believe in popular and broke people. I believe we all need to make money. Only that the amount of money we would make will be different for everybody, but we need to make some money to be able to validate the impact that we make. So in given maybe 12 minutes, allow me to share my thoughts on one, how I believe we can unlock our capacities; two, how I believe we can activate our purpose; and three, how I think we can make impact and make money. In 2000, I think it was 1999, I was picked up by my father. I was living with my mother up until this time. At this point, I would have been around 6 years. Because I was born in 93, so by 99, I should have been around. Is my math right? I think 6 years, right? Yeah, 6 years. So my father picked me from the village where I had been living all my life. Up until this point, I wasn't going to school. And I came to Ashaiman. And in my mind, I was in Accra. I only grew up later to know that the Accra, no, it was big, and I lived in just a little part of it. And even within Ashaiman, I was living in Tulaku. And Tulaku, I always call the Zongo of Zongos. In Ashaiman, we have Tulaku. In fact, we have two different Tulakus. We have one Tulaku that is the proper, how do you call it? The proper Zongo Tulaku, and then we have the Tulaku that is close to an estate. It's close to the Ashaman police barrier. But aside from these two Tulakus, we had another place called Zongo Laka. So what it means is that most towns in Ghana have one Zongo. Ashaman is the only town that has maybe 3 Zongos, right? The Tulaku is one, it's a typical Zongo community. And then there is Zongo Laka, which is also considered a Zongo community. And I lived in Tulaku. You know, I grew up in this Tulaku. But at the age of 6, when I came to Ashaiman, I had never stepped in my foot in any classroom. I didn't know a word in English language. I didn't know how to I didn't have any friends. I came to live with my father in a big compound house. There were, if my memory would serve me right, at least 100 people in that house. It was a big compound house made of, what do you call it? Wood, boards. So they call it tabodine. And we lived in this. My father had a small single room in there. We had a shared bathhouse. We didn't have any toilet. So there was a public toilet that we used to go to at the time. And this was how my life started. Okay. I remember also that around that age of 6, when I first went to school in Blessed Clementina Roman Catholic Basic School, Middle East Ashaiman, I was supposed to take a test. So this was like an entrance exam for people entering KG. And per my age, the decision was that if I had passed the test, then I would be taken to class 1 because I was older than KG. But I failed the test. I failed the test not because I didn't know what the test was about, but because I froze. I had my first and maybe only public speaking stage fright at the age of 6 in Clementina. Now, I remember very well one of the teachers telling my father that he should find a fitting shop or a carpentry shop and put me in, because from her perspective, I didn't have what it takes or what it took to succeed in school at the very least. And so that was her message to my father. And I remember my 6-year-old mind, and this is interesting, but I do remember feeling very bad, and not even very bad for myself, but very bad for my father, and telling myself that for the sake of my father and to make him proud, I will embarrass this woman by doing well. And that is how I started. Now, I say this to say that if I could start from that point of not knowing not a word in English language, never having stepped feet in a classroom, to the man whose profile, the profile you read, Amina, that profile, I suspect you people. Until you mentioned that the person had trained 2,000 people, I didn't even know it was me. But anyway, the profile that has been read is, if we are bragging, not even half of the actual profile that we have as a person, as a brand. But I say this to say, if the person can move from that stage that I just described to the stage that is captured in this profile that was read, or on my socials or on my website or wherever that people may talk about me, whatever good things they may say about me, then you know that everybody has a capacity to do well, a capacity to achieve. I liken it to what is taught in physics. potential energy versus kinetic energy. That every object at a station or every stationary object has a potential energy. And at a point of movement, that potential energy uses kinetic energy. What it means then is that you are born with capacity to achieve great things. You are born with capacity to do well. You have within you already existing the potential to succeed. The difference between you succeeding and you not succeeding depends on your ability to unlock within you the things that you need to achieve your purpose or to succeed. And so for me, life really begins with you identifying what you believe is your purpose, or at least understanding that you are born for a purpose. I always tell this fictional story when I talk about purpose. I say that for those of you who are not Christians, please pardon me, or non-religious, pardon me, I'm going to use a religious analogy here. Once upon a time, God got up, wherever God lives, whether up in the skies or down in the ground. God got up and God looked onto the earth and God saw a problem. And when God saw this problem, God said, let us make, and in this part, you put your name in there. Let us make Efo Kokumauto. Let us make Amina. Let us make Larry. Let us make Marjorie or whoever to go down onto the earth and solve that problem. For me, what that means is that God created you purposely to solve a specific problem, to achieve a certain feat that if you don't achieve, God has to create a different person to come and achieve that purpose. This is my belief about purpose. So when God created you, he then gave you people. He gave you problems. He gave you a talent. And he gave you opportunities. He gave you 4 things that can help you achieve the purpose for which he created you. People, that is why you are born into a family. You make friends with people. Even when you take Trotsky, the people you sit in the Trotsky with, they are part of the process. And the people are not always good. They are not always bad. They are just people that as you meet them and encounter them and interact with them, you're supposed to learn things from them that will help you achieve your purpose. And I always often use the example of myself and my father. If you subject my father to the regular definition of a responsible father, my father is probably one of the most irresponsible fathers in the world. And no malice to you. I'm not even saying this out of pain. He and I have had this conversation a million times. He was unable to do the things that a regular father should do for a son. He was not physically present most of the time. He was not emotionally present all of the time. He was not financially present most of the time. So he wasn't there for me. But it is my held belief that had my father been any different from the father he was, I wouldn't be here today. So because of that, I have no malice towards him. I have believed that it is for my sake and for me to achieve the things that God created me to achieve, that my father is the father he was. That I could have been born to Dangote, and I could have also become a useless man, even though I was born to Dangote. So it matters not that the people you meet in life are good to you or bad to you. It matters most what you pick from that and use to empower yourself, use as your momentum to achieve success. Like I told you, the woman who is a teacher told my father, take this boy and put him in a fitting shop. She is a person I met, and it is her words that have led to who I am today. You understand? And anybody who knows me knows that when it comes to academics, well, yeah, we've also done our bit. But I failed an entrance exams into KG1 is the point I'm trying to make. So the people you meet will not always be good. They will make you angry. They'll upset you. They will do all manner of things that will put you on edge. But the point is that it is not for you to look at whether what they did is wrong or right. It is for you to look at what can you learn from this experience and how can you use that experience to then catapult yourself into where God wants you to be or what your success is defined as. So that is one. Then, of course, you have talent. Everybody is born with a talent. And I'm not talking about skills. I'm talking about talent. I'm talking about you having something that you do easily with the least amount of effort. I think that's a definition from, who gave this definition? Hey. Oh, he's a popular man in the US. I forget his name right now, but he said talent is the thing that you do the most with the least amount of effort. So you need to find that talent. I have always believed my talent is in how I think. It's not even how I talk. A lot of people believe I am a talented speaker. No, I am a skilled speaker. I learned public speaking. I literally froze when I was 6 years, when I was taking an exam that was meant for 4-year-olds. I had always been class 1 papa, class 4 papa. I was always the oldest in class until I started my PhD. That I've become the second youngest in class. Everywhere I have been to school, I was always one of the oldest or the oldest in class. But my talent is not in my ability to speak. My talent is in my thinking, how I see the world, the way I think is a special gift given to me by God. Otherwise, how did a 6-year-old in Ashaiman know that what the woman said should not hurt me, but should be a reason for me to succeed? That for me is different from how, and it comes easily to me, right? So I believe everybody has a talent. There are some talent that end up being skills. Great. Some people are talented footballers, and playing football is a skill, so that is great. Some people are talented singers, and singing is a skill, that is great. But whatever be the case, when you find your talent, and I can have a whole 3-hour session on talent, but when you do find your talent, which I think one of the easiest ways to find is ask yourself, what do I do easily with the least amount of effort? What do people say I am good at all the time? And what do I feel within me I am good at? If you put those 3 together, I believe you can find your talent. But whatever be the case, when you find this talent, you should then create a web of skills around the talent, right? A web of skills. For instance, because of how I think, I learned public speaking. Because of public speaking, I learned graphic designing. Because of graphic designing, I learned videography. Because of videography, I learned what? Maybe many other things. Because of how I think, I went to school. Because I went to school, I learned research. Because of research, I am now able to do a PhD. So you create this web of skills. The one question I ask myself every day, and I ask people, is this: if I am going to do something and I need another person to do it for me, then you best believe tomorrow I'm going to learn that thing, so that I have so many skills that I may not have to use all of them, but most of them are helping me to get to where I need to get to. And that is on talent. All right. Give you an example. In university, when I started my undergraduate studies in the university, Ghana Institute of Journalism, I decided from second semester level 100, that I would do what I call one semester, one skill project. What it meant for me is that every semester I picked one of the courses that was taught in the school, and I used it. I learned more than what was taught in the classroom, and it became a skill. Started with graphic designing in level 200 first semester, which was taught in advertising. Then I learned photography and videography because there was a course they taught us, I think it was visual communication, where they taught us about colors and visuals and gestalt theory, plenty things, right? And that is how it started. So research. I left university, 4 years of university, with 12 skills, 12 paying skills, things that I could do for money that I didn't have before I entered university. And that is how you build a web of skills around your talent. So that is one on talent. And then, of course, there are problems. If you don't face problems, I don't believe you can succeed. Problems are your opportunity to succeed. So as a human being, you would always have problems, but it's always about how you look at the problems and how you interpret the problems to fit into your entire purpose in life. Okay. For instance, my father was one of my biggest problems. I always tell people my father broke my heart, so no girl can break my heart. Right. I mean, it was a huge problem for me. I was born, I lived in with my father, and throughout my life, I've had about 6 different stepmothers. That is my problem, right? I had to walk from GIJ in Osu to Accra Mall for 2 years of my life when I started university. That is my problem. So these are some of just a few of the problems off the top of my head that I can mention that I went through. But the point is that for every problem that I went through, one, I wanted to find a solution, and two, I wanted to make sure those who come after me don't go through that again. And that is one of the momentum that I have to achieve things. If you see me have a strong drive to succeed, it's because nobody behind me, not my younger sisters, not my children, not my wife, not generations born after me, would go through the same thing that I went through. So to prevent people from going through the same thing that I went through, I have to achieve something. That is one of my momentum to achieve, or my momentum to succeed, right? And then, of course, there are opportunities. There are opportunities all around us, all right? Education is an opportunity, so go to school. Skills are an opportunity, so build skills. What is an opportunity? Digital. Online is an opportunity, so take advantage and learn it. Like, I learned digital marketing in 2020, not because I wanted to become a digital marketer, but because of digital marketing skills. I've got certain jobs that are not digital marketing specific, but I've added to. You understand? So there is all of that. All right. So you realize that with what I've said so far about purpose, I've tapped also into how you unlock your capacity. You unlock your capacity by realizing the opportunities around you, by realizing the people around you, the challenges that you go through. When you are going through a challenge, don't focus on the challenge. Focus on what you are going to achieve after you go through the challenge. Okay, challenges are not destinations. They are just portals. Challenges are portals. They are mediums to achieving success. So when you face a challenge, consider it as a portal to achieving your success, right? Challenges are like quicksand. I don't know if any of you on the call knows quicksand, but quicksand is a type of sand that when you stand on it, you'll be pulled down into the sand. You'll be buried into the sand. And the science is that if you are on the sand and you are focused on the sand and you are trying to vigorously shake yourself or get off it, then it will bury you more. But if you're able to stand still and focus on getting out or looking at the bank, then it's easier. In fact, there's a whole science about when you are drowning in any water body, and if you're focused on the water around you, you will drown faster. But if you're focused on the river bank or the seashore, then your momentum to be able to swim to the seashore or to the river bank is higher. So when you are facing troubles or challenges, don't focus on them. And if you give me 10 hours, I can give you 10 different challenges that I've gone through, but they've not held me down, and they will not hold me down. I just told somebody on WhatsApp just a few minutes before I got on this call. The person said, "Hey, you are hardworking." I said, "I'm too broke to be lazy." I look at my broke nature and I'm like, no, you can't be this broke and have the luxury of being lazy. Yeah, when I become rich, I will be lazy. You don't know laziness. Me, I have drawn up the laziness in my life. When I become rich, you see laziness. But for now, I cannot be lazy. It was my mentor Kafui Day who said balance is balance is overrated. Like at this age in your life, you are a 25-year-old young person trying to make it in Ghana, of all places, Ghana. You are already disadvantaged because you are in Ghana. And on top of that, you are looking for work-life balance. Where will you get it from? Masa, you are living in an imbalanced part of the world, and you are looking for work-life balance at 25, right? Get to 40, make your first $1 million, and then let's talk about work-life balance. For now, work hard, sleep less. Let nobody tell you that sleep is for the, what do you call it? What did they say it? They said sleep is for the weak, is what some people say. Which I don't believe in the sleep is for the weak, but I don't also believe in you must sleep just because if you have work, you work. Look, if I describe my regular Saturday for you, you'll cry for me. On weekends like this, as I'm speaking to you, I'm at a certain location where I'm coming to do a certain job for a client. And I'm speaking on this call from that location. I was supposed to start the business with the client at 11. It's already 11. What am I doing? I'm here on the call. The client is sitting there, they're watching me, right? There is that part of it. But I just closed from lectures. I taught from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I went to teach at Unimark. Then I'm here. If Kasanopo had started, which will start next week, right after teaching here where I am, I will go to Kasanopo from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. By the time I get home, I'm hungry, my stomach is shouting, but I've not eaten all day. But we are building towards something. You understand me? So that is that part of that. Then the final thing that I would want to say as we as I end on this, is this. I am a strong believer in optimism. I believe that if you want to succeed, you cannot but be optimistic. Okay? And my optimism, of course, is born out of all the things I said about unlocking your capacity, activating your purpose. There's optimism built on that. Of course, my optimism is not built on some wishy-washy dream. I'm not optimistic that I'll buy a car tomorrow. No, my bank account doesn't tell me that. So that optimism is useless. But I'm very optimistic that this year, 2026, is not ending without me buying my own car. I can be that optimistic because I'm putting in the work. But spare me a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Let me talk about optimism. There is a law called the law of attraction. It's a law of nature. And this law says that you get what you think. You achieve what you think. In fact, this law has been broken down into many, many other smaller laws. One of them is that if you can perceive it, if you can see it, you can achieve it. If you can envision it, then you can live that reality. In fact, it is one of the bases for which Patrick Ewa, the owner and president of Ashesi University, started Ashesi University. He said that when he came to Ghana, he wanted to actually build a technology company like Microsoft. He wanted to build Africa's version of Microsoft. But he went to University of Ghana, to KNUST, to employ, computer science student, to become his workers, to help him build this technology company that he wanted to build, only to realize that even in the universities, they're writing codes on boards. They were not actually building the codes with actual laptops or computer systems. And so, of course, this was a labor force that was not well equipped to do the work that he wanted to do. So because of that, he started a school. See, he came to Ghana, he saw an opportunity to start a technology company. That is his opportunity. He came to Ghana looking for the people to help him build this company, only to realize a problem. Problem being the people were not well equipped. So what did he do? He changed that into an opportunity to build a school, which has now become one of Africa's top schools. I would argue Africa's #1 university, competing with global giants like Oxford and Harvard and the rest. How did he do that? Because he believed that he could. He had the conviction that he could, and he saw it. All right. So the law of attraction says that you should focus your attention on what you want to achieve, not what you don't want to achieve. Okay. So for instance, you sit in a vehicle going to Kumasi and your prayer is, dear Lord, please don't let me get an accident. But you see, your brain doesn't know the difference between what you want and what you don't want. Your brain only knows what is on your mind. And so the laws of nature would pull forces together to help you achieve that which is in your mind, that which is uppermost on your mind. Okay. And so you probably end up experiencing some form of accident, not because you called for it, not because it was meant to happen, but you are expecting it. Your brain is expecting it. By praying against accident, you are always thinking about accident. And the law says you get what you think. So the trick is to think about what you want to get. Okay, let me give you an example. In JHS 1, 2010, I took a piece of paper and I wrote on it my name, my age at the time, the senior high school I wanted to go to, the university I wanted to attend when I was done. In fact, I wrote that in senior high school, I wanted to become senior prefect, wanted to win national debate, then finish and go to GIJ. So I said I wanted to go to Pope John, be senior prefect, win national debate, shake hands with the president, go to GIJ, study journalism, and become an international journalist working with global brands. That was the plan. At the time, I didn't use the word global brand. I said I wanted to work with, CTFM, BBC, and some others. All right. This was the plan. I wrote this down. I wrote it, I pasted it in my father's single room, and I was looking at it every morning before I go to school. And I worked for it, obviously. I studied, I read. I mean, if I tell you the number of books I used to read, these days when I see people say I read 300 books a year, I said, we should have been recording the books we read, because we read. But I put in the work. But aside from putting in the work, I refused to believe that I could not achieve those things. It was a strong conviction. In fact, there was a point that when we were selecting our senior high schools in Form 3 JHS, there was a teacher in the school who changed my school from Pope John to, I think, Accra Academy. And by whatever, I don't know, whatever machinations, I saw it. A friend of mine was sweeping the library and saw the paper and my name on it, and it wasn't Pope John. And by the time I was in Form 3, everybody in my school, Clementina, in Ashaiman, knew that I was going to Pope John. In fact, they used to call me Pojoba, even when I didn't even know where Pope John was. But I had said it so many times that everybody was calling me Pojoba. I was in Form 3 JHS, and people who had gone to Pope John and come back were bringing me paraphernalia, armbands, vests, caps from Pope John when I had not even traveled outside Ashaiman at the time. I had never even come to Accra by that 2012. All right. But I found this thing and I insisted on it being changed, and it was changed. I got a grade, what? I don't know. I think I get 9 or 12. I don't know. But I went to Pope John. I became senior prefect in Pope John. I got the chance to shake hands with the vice president. I didn't get the chance to shake hands with the vice president in 2015. Well, I got the chance to shake hands with the vice president. I didn't get the president, but the vice president is still president. I shook hands with the vice president at the forecourt of the Flagstaff House. At the time was Jubilee House. I don't know. Anyway, it keeps changing. And I finished. I applied to different universities for about 2 years. From 2015, I started applying to different universities. I kept getting admission. I couldn't go, but those of you who follow me on socials, you know the story of how I went to university. So I will not belabor on that. But I ended up in GIJ, which I always wanted to go to. And today, I have worked with France 24, BBC, mention them, all the big names in media outside the country that you can think of. I've worked with Joy, I've worked with BNFT. I've done a bit in journalism, and I'm not even 10 years in journalism yet. All right. I make this point to say that if you want to achieve something, that is the one thing that should be on your mind and nothing else. Don't allow any form of doubt to settle on your mind for longer than maybe a minute. You will have doubts. You would have days, bad days, where you think this cannot work. But don't let it rest on your mind for so long, because if you have it on your mind and you are putting in the work physically, the forces of nature, the forces of God, the forces of whatever you believe in would amass the resources you need for you to get to where you need to get to. That is my honest belief. So, in closing, built into each of us is the potential to achieve greatness. It is left with us to unlock it. And we unlock it by realizing what our purpose is in this life. And I say your purpose is that which you do the least, you do the most with the least amount of effort. So when God created you to come onto this earth, he gave you a specific purpose. He gave you people, he gave you a talent, he gave you opportunities, he gave you challenges. And if you put these together, you would be able to unlock your capacity. Within that, if you are able to do that, then obviously you are focused on achieving greatness. And built into greatness is impact and, of course, making money. So when you are building your brand, building your career, building whatever you are building, don't only focus on impact. I learned this very late. I learned this as late as 2023, that you cannot always be about impact. You have to feed yourself. You have to make money, right? And so in doing this, one guiding principle, aside the many that exist, one guiding principle is the law of attraction. You attract that which you keep on your mind. What is most lasting on your mind is what will happen to you in reality. So if you want to achieve something, see it, envision it, build that vision clearly, and you will be able to achieve it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope this helps you to become a better version of yourself.
Thank you so much. Amoako-Boadu. And anybody who is in the media space, especially with Ghana's Most Beautiful, we used to have the late Amoako-Boadu. So anytime I'm mentioning this name, I remember him. Efo, thank you so much. Indeed, this name, like I said earlier, this name has impact, and you'll continue to feel the impact that you have on us. For everything that you said, I have breaked it into several sub topics. I found strategies. At the moment, I felt it was a sermon. At a point in time,
Hey.
felt being cancelled. Yes. And all that you said was based on three things: being able to unlock the mindset, unlock systems, and unlock our own capacity and activate our purpose. Thank you so much for this insightful message. That is not just a message for us to do anything, but truly a momentum to achieve. And so I'm giving two opportunities to our cherished audience or people who are on with us to ask for any question that they want to ask. You are privileged, only two people are privileged to ask questions. So kindly raise up your hand if you have any questions for Efo. Hi, Richard. Kindly go on with your question for Efo.
Hello, thank you so much, family. This is very powerful conference. I'm so excited to be part. All right, Mr. Efo Koku, God bless you for this powerful message. My question is, as being as an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an artist, and I was born with my talent from my mother's womb. But coming up, my parents see that my talent is not going to take me high, so they just let me change my course to go and do marketing in university. Now, after my graduation in university, I have acquired to even masters. Now, my certificate, my degrees and everything, whenever I apply for a company, I'm a CMO. Company in Ghana don't accept my assessment because the things that they have to provide for me, they are not giving to me. So now I channel back to my creation to become myself entrepreneur, be my CEO by myself. So my question is, now that I am a CEO in my country here, and now Ghana is also not appreciating this, our artist system. Now it has channeled to digital. How being as an artist going to survive in this our AI system right now? Thank you, sir.
Right. Rich Dark. Is that the name? Rich Dark
Yes,
Creation.
please. Yes, please.
Right. So let me ask you to help me maybe address the question better. Let me ask you, when you say you are an artist, what kind of artistry do you refer to?
I'm a fine arts painter.
So you do paintings?
Paintings. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Right. So the question in sum is, if I have a talent that does not seem to make enough money, what do I do? One, to build on that talent and allow it to make me money. And two, if there are any other things I can do on the side to make money. Am I getting the question right?
Yes, please.
Great. So I think the answer is in the question. I also started learning public speaking when my father said, "Masa, go and join politicians." I said, "No, I'm not doing politics." So he was always upset with me that I had the gift. He felt that my gift was speaking and that I had the gift of eloquence and public speaking, but I wasn't using it to make money. And he was always upset with me. So I don't have the full experience that you have, but I have a bit of that in terms of what I experienced with my dad. If I'm going straight forward, I don't like giving, those who know me know this, I don't like giving shrouding answers or general answers to specific questions, because I believe every situation is different. And so you need specific solutions to those. So of course, you and I can have a conversation on the side where we can delve deeper into what you can do specifically. But generally, for people who are in this kind of challenge, what I can say are these. Okay, so first of all, you need to eat before you can appreciate any passion or dream or talent that you may have. You need a place to sleep before you, if you want to build a mansion one day, that can be your optimistic dream. But for now, you need money to rent. So I always tell people, find something to do now that can earn you money now. And then you can use the money you make from what you're doing now to build your passion or to build your dream or to build your talent. So there are so many other things. And that is why I am very big on skills. Those who follow me know I've said this a number of times. It takes skills to pay the bills. You cannot pay your bills with a talent. You cannot pay your bills with, I mean, you can, but it cannot happen as quickly as you would expect it. So sometimes you need to build over 20 years, over 30 years to see some of these things come into reality. And so find something to do now that can earn you money. But again, is there a way you can turn what you are doing, what your dream is, what your passion is, to make money? For instance, I know a guy who does pencil art and he collects big money. He can do a A3 pencil art and he's charging about 500 cedis, 1,000 cedis, depending on the difficulty in the picture. So can you do something like that? You mentioned AI and social media. Can you take advantage of it? How many of you on this platform know Enil Art? That's a gentleman who goes around and uses pen to draw people in Troy and other things and gives it to them. How many of you know him? If you know him, that guy was my school son in Pope John. And we all knew he was good with art. And we all didn't think he would take art. He can sing even better than he can draw, I think. He's an amazing singer, has a great voice. But he found a way to put himself on the map by using social media to his advantage, right? So though people can create so many things with AI now, you cannot create what he is creating. And he gives a certain feeling. So my belief is try and find a way to also use what you are doing right now to make money. And there are so many ways we can discuss that in private conversations, right? The other thing also is, and that would be the last on this question, would be for me, form networks. Find like people within the space that you are. And sometimes you never know, you can be catapulted with just one recommendation and you are gone. Okay, I know spoken word. I used to do spoken word artists, spoken word performances, and I know people in spoken word communities that got gigs to go and perform at the U.S. Embassy, and by that one performance, they were able to get a visa and they were able to go study abroad. And today, they are well off than I am. And it took poetry, right? I know people who were doing things that ordinarily you wouldn't think would be able to fetch them money quickly. But because they belong to certain networks, those networks have a way of putting you up onto the map or recommending you for certain gigs that can really help you. One of my mentees is a poet, right? She Northerner. It's a poet. When we started training in 2020, she didn't even know she could make money from poetry. But by training and by building the brand, today she goes to perform at places and she charges 5,000 cedis, 3,000 cedis. And when she gets it, she doesn't bring some to me. You understand? So also put yourself in spaces, in communities that best understand what you are doing and understand the value. Therefore, within those communities, you can find people who are willing to pay for the art that you produce. This is general as an answer, but we can have a very specific, direct conversation about you when we are off the call and we have time. All right?
Thank you, Mr. Efo. This is very powerful. And I think I've taken that step now. I'll be moving with that green light that you are saying. So thank you so much. I'm just excited. Thank you so much. And looking at the meeting with you, how access can it be? I don't know how it's going to be,
Don't
but I would
worry.
love
After this conversation, either Amina or Larry can share my contact,
all
my
right.
WhatsApp, and you can reach out to me.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Richard, for the question. And thank you so much, Efo, for giving us that detailed answer. We are pleased to have you as our guest speaker, as our first speaker, and also for you giving that motivation and inspiration to us. We'll believe that we've taken everything into consideration and we'll work towards achieving our success. Thank you so much, Efo. We'd like to move on to our second speaker, but before then, Efo.
Amina, so permission, guys. I'm asking permission to drop out of the meeting because I have to go attend to other things. This is a very final thing I want to say.
Before you go, let me take this opportunity to tell our special audiences here that FO has a training school. I call it a school. I don't call it a weekend class. I call it a school because once you are part of the training, you throughout the week, you'll be bustling yourself with finding answers to some of the things that you are going to treat again on the next weekend. And so FO has a Kasanuko training and competition where I've joined, and I've seen how impactful it is to my career as a professional host MC and also a public speaker. And so if you are here and you want to talk and earn money from talking or more than talking, you are head of institution or any other thing that links with human relation and behavior, I think the best person to help you out is Efokoko Mauto, as well as Kasanuko training. And so please, you can search him out on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and also we'll share the contact with you as soon as we are done. And to all our speakers, we'll share their contact if they give us the permission, like Efo has done already. So thank you so much, Efo, and we are pleased to have you. We have given you the permission to go on other tasks, and we hope to hear from you some other time. Thank you.
Before I leave, it must be clear to us that success is not cheap. Success is not cheap, and it will be hard. It is supposed to be hard, but the glory is in the story. Success is not cheap. It will be hard. It is supposed to be very hard, but the glory is in the story. So I leave you guys with the words that I often end my social media posts with. The light is not at the end of the tunnel. The light is in us. The light is with us. The light is us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause to let me see the emojis flying on the screen. Thank you so much, Efo. Thank you so much. If this is our first speaker, then you can imagine what our second, third, fourth, and our last speaker will be presenting to us. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I want to let you know that our second speaker is ready, and he is a health and youth development advocate, exercise rehabilitation specialist, and social impact leader. He holds a BSc in sports and exercise science and an MPhil in clinical exercise rehabilitation from KNUST, that's the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He's the founder of the Fanuel Impact Incorporation and the founder and CEO of Bars Beverage Limited and Snapcare Therapeutic Center, with a strong passion for purpose, discovery, self-awareness, and youth empowerment. He has served as the president of the National Health Students Association of Ghana, which is NASAC, and has trained over 1,000 youth in leadership across the country and directly mentored 50 young people, and is committed to guiding young people to understand themselves, align with great purpose, and live impactful lives. Ladies and gentlemen, before I mention our second speaker, let me see the emojis flying on the screen. It gives me that sort of energy and momentum. The word for today is momentum. That sort of energy and momentum to say that indeed we are on the road to our success for this year. So without much ado, let's invite our second speaker, Mr. Fanuel Seligagbeto. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I want to find out if I'm audible. Everyone can hear me very well.
Yes, please, you are audible. We can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you very much. Efokoku Mauto, thank you very much for that great start. Listening to you, especially drawing close to your conclusive part, I was like, oh, he's laid the foundation for me to just do a little touch up, and then we can move to listen to other speakers, especially when he was talking about optimism. That's a great part to add to it, because momentum in science. As a science student, I want to link what we are doing scientifically. Momentum in science is said to be a physical quantity that's defined as the product of mass and velocity. Breaking that down, mass is, we say, is the amount of matter. For everyone that is here who has been to school before and learned science, we've always been told that matter is the ability to occupy space, for anything to occupy space. So pouring water into a container and the water being able to take the shape of the container as water then becomes matter, and the velocity is the speed we take to a given direction. So I like the catch or the name given to this summit, momentum to achieve, putting together your ability to, or your potential to achieve things, and then looking at the speed at which you can achieve them. And basically that's it. And breaking down the various teams, saying unlocking our capacity, and then activating our purpose. All these two things drive us towards making impact. But then I come in with a very diverse angle of it, that most often when we are on the road to making impact, or we are driving towards an impactful aspect of our life, we tend to forget that as humans, we have a peak performance rate, or we have a place where we get to and we become exhausted. And so people can work over time and over weeks. Some people can go 3-5 years in a company, and you hear them brag about the fact that they've been working for the company and they've never gone on leave, they've never gone on a holiday. Even at holidays, they are at work. And you imagine whether they know the harm they are causing to themselves. So today I've been given the task to speak on maintaining peak performance, how to maintain that performance speed, or how to maintain that level of performance you begin with from the start of when you start a project. So give an example. Once there was a young man who has the urge to succeed in life, who was very much pushed to making life for himself. So he decided to start a beverage company. The first 2 production went with the speed of light. People bought them, the reviews that came were very nice. And so he said, oh, if the little I'm doing can bring back this kind of returns, then I need to put in much work. Day in and night, this gentleman was not sleeping. Day in and night, he was working, trying to find people to invest. One time he got someone who says, come and pitch your company to me and then I would invest. Come and tell me what you need to make this beverage company what you dream of it. And the unfortunate thing is, the day that was set for that, the young man missed that day. He missed the time. He woke up very late. And all this was because in the course of preparing towards this pitch, he didn't think of resting, neither did he think of his health. All that was important to him was, hey, I need to land this business. I need to close this deal. I need to make this money. So it was all about making the money, closing the deal, working hard to get the best presentation, the best pitch, learning how to pitch and all that. And so exhaustion came in on the day he decided, I need to rest a bit for the big day tomorrow. And this young man is no other person than myself. Talking about the year 2020, where I had the opportunity to pitch to someone to get money for my business. The day of the pitch, I didn't make it because I was too exhausted. And when I slept the previous night, I woke up very late beyond the time given. And I missed that opportunity. Why am I bringing this in? I'm bringing this in because this has to do with, this is like a story of many young ones who want to make it. Many of us who want to build a life for ourselves get to the point where we overwork ourselves, where we work ourselves beyond resting, we work ourselves beyond even thinking about the good meal to eat. We forget that we are a machine, that we need rest. We forget that we are a machine that we need to keep up with a certain performance rate. So just like Efo was talking about being optimistic, you see, various times people miss the point that being optimistic is not all about overworking ourselves. People get to the point where they become exhausted. Optimism gets to that exhaustion point where we forget or we ignore that we have limits as humans. We get to the point where we max out problems. We forget that instead of just thinking positively, we need to look at the challenge in the whole. So someone is trying to make it in life, and all they are looking at is the positive aspect, that when I invest 200 cedis and I work day and night with no rest, I work hard, I'm going to achieve 60% returns, I'm going to achieve 100% returns. Maybe afterwards questions can come. Or so moderator, is that how it's supposed to be?
Okay. So sorry, that shouldn't have come up. Please, you can continue.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. So like I was saying, we forget that optimism gets to an exhaustion point. So like we max out problems instead of thinking about the challenge in a whole. We end up thinking about the challenge in the positive manner. We forget that there are the negatives that comes out with it. And so when the positive thinking do not play out, we overlook the poor team that maybe we are working in a team and we are overlooking the poor team dynamics, we are overlooking the less resources we have, but we are thinking about, hey, if I wake up tomorrow and I get some 100,000 Ghana cedis, if I speak to this person and you go and speak to the people and they turn you down, then you begin to become exhausted. Why? Because we forget that the body has 4 different energy levels we need to look at. Okay, aside the physical aspect of our energies, there comes that aspect of energy where most often we downplay the emotional aspects. Then the mental aspect of our energy we don't look at. And then the final one I would want to share and expand on is the purpose-driven part of energy. You see, aside our physical energy, which gives us the ability to move, the ability to speak to people, the ability to put our hands to work, which most often even gets to an exhaustion point and we don't look at that. Sometimes you realize you are trying to even type on your laptop and you've lost total focus. That is the point where the brain, the mental aspect of our body, the mental energy is telling us that I am tired, I can't do it any longer. You see, I've had the trend where people get to that point and then that is where we resort to energy drinks. Yeah, they feel, oh, the energy is down. Some one energy drink will just bring me back and I can finish this proposal. And you realize that, yes, sometimes you get the energy to finish the proposal, you submit and you are told that there's so much mistakes. You're like, but I took my time. I did this very well. Forgetting that at the point where the mental energy was telling you that there is no fuel in me, and you needed to just take a rest to restore, you decided to go for a quick restoration. And then the emotional aspect of our energy, where we are always, though yes, it's good to be optimistic, but optimism is not all about positivity. It's about, I can make it, I can get to my goal, but then I know that there are ABC challenges on the way. There are challenges of not getting investors. There are challenges of people hearing you out and ignoring you, and the next moment they are starting the idea you shared with them. There are challenges of resources being short. There are challenges of the team not even buying into the full picture you are painting. But most often we ignore all these aspects of our lives or the energy we need to perform at our peak. And then finally, the purpose-driven aspect. Most youth out there want to succeed. Like Efo was saying, a lot of people will just wake up and tell themselves, this year I want to buy a car. Or the young ones who fancy electronic gadgets to say, hey, this year I'm buying myself an iPhone, I'm buying myself a MacBook, and all that. Sorry for that break. So we forget about our emotional aspect. So we just make that promises to ourselves. And then when things are not playing out the way we expect it, then you realize that we are down. We feel things are becoming slow. But the truth of the matter is things never become slow. Okay? Things do not become slow. It is our body that becomes slow. We overperform the body. Time is fixed. Time is fixed, but energy is renewable. And so time is moving, but our energy is low. And so because of late, the things are slow. Things are not slow. They are as they are. But it is our energy that is slow and needs to be renewed. On the other hand, our performance depends on how well our energy is generated, and how well our energy is stored, and how well our energy is spent. So all I'm trying to say in sum is that energy management is greater than time management. Okay, you can manage your time, but your energy will be exhausted. In managing our time, we draw timetables for ourselves to do A, B, C, D at whatever time, forgetting that the body also has a time where it becomes exhausted. And so it needs to be replenished. The body needs to come up back to speed. So we need to look at managing our energies as we manage our time. And I'm going to share with us 5 major ways we can maintain peak performance, hence managing our energies. The very first one I want to talk about is our time. It is our energy. Getting peak performance is about managing our energy. Sorry. We have to manage our energy, not just our time. You see, we have to, one, prioritize sleeping. We have to prioritize what we eat, our nutrition, prioritize how we drink water, hydrating the body. We have to align with the energy by focusing on tasks and avoid being burnt out by pacing ourselves. So we give ourselves very close timelines. The very common one maybe we can all relate to has to do with some people tell ourselves, okay, by age 20, I need to get married. And so as soon as they are 16 and no boy is looking at them or no girl is accepting their proposal, they become emotionally down. Or by age 25, I need to have a house, I need to have a car, I need to have a wife, I need to have $1 million in my account. Whereas you are setting those goals, it is not that they are not achievable, but you see, we set the goals and give ourselves timelines and forgetting that we are humans who use fuel. We are just like vehicles. You cannot drive a vehicle continuously without stopping to fuel it. Even if it is chargeable, it needs to get to a point where you need to stop for it to be recharged. And so that is how our body is. And the fuel our body works on is the nutrition, the hydration, and the sleep. Sleep is very underrated, my people. We underrate sleep a lot. People think it's just a part of life where we get into the night and so we have to sleep, and if you don't sleep, if you are sleeping, then it means you are not poised to achieve. But some of us have experienced that aspect of our lives where we want to achieve, and so we forget to sleep. And by the time you are getting to the very important aspect of maybe a project you are handling, then sleep hits you down. So we need to prioritize our sleep. When you even learn and you want to retain, you can only do that at most when you sleep 8 hours or 6 hours. So you've learned as a student and you want to retain what you've learned. Retention happens when you are asleep at night. It doesn't happen when you've done true and poor over and over. When you do true and poor over and over, it remains in the brain. But for you to get into that retention mode, you need to sleep. The second aspect is for you to prioritize your physical wellness, exercising, regular movement, time yourself to walk around, time yourself to do a lot of things that keeps the body. You need to boost your stamina, your strength, resilience, improve that cognitive function. You have to manage stress. Okay. Then the second one is mental clarity and mindset. You need to sometimes meditate, keep quiet for a little while to meditate. And then the fourth one I want to share, I'm rushing through because of the time. I want to keep the time and I have other things I need to rush to. Is purpose alignment. You need to align to your purpose. Just like Efo taught us of how to identify that purpose, we need to get to the point where we align to that purpose. Okay. And then finally, recovery and adaptation. You go on to the work you fail, come back, sit quietly, ponder through, take a break, rest, and then recover a period, and then reflect through the setbacks. Okay. And then you would realize that anytime you go back to perform, you are at your peak. When you are tired, take the rest. It is very important for us to rest. So for us to maintain peak performance, these things we need to look at. The very major ones has to do with sleeping, nutrition, and hydration. We need to sleep when we have to. We need to sleep when we have to. We need to hydrate ourselves frequently, and we need to eat well. Eat well is the point. You say eat well a lot of times, and people are saying, hey, eating well has to do with spending a lot of money. But the whole idea of being able to having identify your purpose and being able to become impactful, like Efo said, impact and making money. But I want to summarize that as making wealth. When you are wealthy, you make impact. When you speak, people listen. Money is good, but wealth is a thing. So you have to be a wealthy person. It's for you to sacrifice something now to get there. So you can't just save to be wealthy. What you are saving, use some, eat very well, so that by the time you are getting wealthy, you don't become sick to spend your money in the hospital, or you don't even die and leave the money behind for people to enjoy. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where I would want to leave my presentation, and thank you for listening to me. I had to rush through because of the time, and then also run to attend to other things quickly. So I would also want to plead on Madam Moderator. I'll still be in the meeting. I would want to have my question and answer time after every other thing, so that I just take care of something quickly and get back. But I'll still be on the meeting. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So you want us to grant opportunity for the question and the answers right now, or you would want to come back?
I want to come back. For that.
Okay, thank you so much, Panel Stanley Gagbeto, for this wonderful presentation. All that you said, I was judging myself, and I know most of us on this call is also judging ourselves, because we don't get time to sleep enough. We don't get time to drink enough. Even using the washroom becomes a problem. It's a challenge when your day is packed and filled with so much busy things going up and down. But anyway, some of the things that I was able to jot down, not just as a host, but somebody who is participating and learning from the momentum to achieve 2026, because I'm eager to make my 2026 a better one than it is before. I learned on maintaining peak performance, the importance of the emotional aspect of our lives. The energy renewable is very important because time is fixed. And also energy management is greater than time management. And the 5 things, or the 5 core things which he propounded, was on managing our energy, physical wellness and exercises management. The third one is the mental clarity The fourth one is the purpose alignment. And the fifth one is recovery and adaptation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important for us to learn all these things, and we are so much grateful, Mr. Seli Gagetho. On this note, we'll be moving on to our next speaker. But before then, I want to hear from our audience if their expectations are being met so far. And so please, you can kindly raise your hands up and then also tell me one or two things you've learned from Efo and then also from Mr. Fanel. But he would come back to answer some of the questions, because I personally have questions that I need to ask him about. So if you're here and you have been impacted so far from our first and second speaker, kindly give us the opportunity to get notified on that by saying it out. Thank you. Okay, all right. I'm going into the comment section. So Derek Natekan says, unlocking capacity, activating purpose, and driving impact. And that was from our first speaker, Efoko Kumauto, and also making impact and making money. And also Fortune Sidinam Adiraki Goglo says, it's interesting that Efo was able to learn 12 webs of skills in 4 years. And Yara Smachi says, thank you. So we are moving on to our third speaker. He is a global connector, entrepreneur, and trusted advisor with a proven track record of building influential communities and facilitating high impact business relationships across the UK, USA, Europe, and Africa. Over the past 2 years, he has worked closely with entrepreneurs, investors, HNWIs, and political figures, brokering strategic conversations that unlock capital, expand markets, and drive global growth across sectors, including film, fashion, entertainment, and investment. He's the founder of the Flax Jam Global Ventures, an event and deal-making platform that connects entrepreneurs and investors worldwide. It serves on the board of Global Entrepreneurship Festival, GEF, which promotes visibility, credibility, and ecosystem growth for global business leaders, including initiatives in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Stephen Kamilari as our third speaker for Momentum to Achieve 2026. Good afternoon from Ghana.
Good afternoon. Do you mind if I put my camera on?
If you're cool with putting your camera on, we are good at it. But if you don't want to, that's fine.
Oh no, I love to put my camera on. Okay.
That's fine.
There we go. There we go. Feel free to join me, anybody. Thank you very much for the introduction, and to the previous speakers. It's been sending me back in time. For you that don't know me, I'm 64 years old now, 64 years young, and I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18. So saying the word entrepreneur is a big word, but it's also more that I was a founder. I had an idea. I was a creative back in England. So I'd like to just take you back a little bit. Hello, Fortune. Thanks for joining me. I would like to just take you back to when I was 7 or 8 years old. I used to run to school. I used to be the first to get to school. I used to love the sports. I was well liked all the way through my school years because I was personal. I turned up on time. I kept fit, and I was always fortunate, I think, that I was able to be one of the top sports people at my schools. And that was where I probably got my drive and determination from. So I think when you are young, you do learn a lot from school, not necessarily academically, but you learn about your own strengths and your weaknesses. So I wasn't by any means a public speaker. I didn't enjoy going on stage and doing Christmas nativities and stuff. So I've had to learn all this as I've grown up and matured through having my own business. And I think as creators, founders, you have something inside you that wants you to be your own boss, okay, that wants you to have the freedom, to have expression, and to make change. But it's not easy. And I'd like to share with you some of my 45 years of experience now, what I've learned coming up through from the age of 18 as a driver. I was a lorry driver originally. Was I think my second job. My first job was actually working in a petrol garage. Yeah, and I used to go and clean the pumps. I used to stack the shelves. I think I lasted about 3 months. I did quite enjoy it, and but from that I went on to become a driver, and those memories are still with me. So you are creating, as previous speaker said, stories. You're creating something that you can look back on and say, where have I come from? How have I developed? And the one thing I really took from my driving days was that I got to meet people. I got to travel. I didn't know where I was going in England half the time, but I managed to get to Scotland and Wales and Ireland and to meet people. And I think now when I look back, I'm doing exactly the same thing, but I'm just not driving, I'm flying. Okay. So you don't know where your business idea is going to take you in the future. So what I'm going to say is you don't have all the skills. You're not born with all the skills to run your own business. So surround yourself with the right people, really as early as possible. Get the right mentorship, find the right people that can support you. Don't just get focused on money. And it's going to be really hard, I know, because everybody assumes that if you have enough money, you can go and buy the services and the IT and the software and do everything you need to do. Okay. But I've seen so many people with money spend it so quickly on an idea that they haven't tested enough. Okay. If you don't test your idea, you won't be successful. As the previous speaker said, you need to fuel your body, your energy, your mind. Okay. And you can't do that by yourself effectively. This is just what I've learned over these 45, 46 years. I was exactly all the people they've spoken about so far, the previous speakers. I've experienced everything they've spoken about. I don't think there's anything I've missed, I haven't done, whether it be working too hard, working so hard that you can't stay awake, but you carry on working. Different addictions to sometimes sport, not a bad thing, you'd say, but sometimes it would be alcohol. You know, when you have a good day, everybody that you're working with in England would go down the pub and celebrate. And the next day, everybody had a bad day because we had a hangover and we didn't perform very well. We'd go down the pub and have a drink and talk about it. So you can get different addictions through what you're doing. Your business can drive you mentally. Without a doubt, it can tire you out. And life goes so quick. I can't believe I'm already 64. Now, I might only feel 44, which is great, you know, but it's only the past 3-4 years that I've really focused on my mental health, my rest, my routines. Okay. So sometimes it feels a little bit boring. Even just last night, I was out for a walk and I fancied a beer. I just fancied a beer. I fancied the environment. And I haven't drank now for 3 years in March. I haven't had one drop of alcohol in 3 years. But I went to a local pub here called the Honeysuckle because it's got a British feel to it. And I sat and had a non-alcoholic beer. And I enjoyed, the music wasn't the same because obviously we were in Ghana, but I enjoyed the atmosphere. And I was proud of myself that I could sit there and not take an alcoholic beverage. So you have to look back, keep looking back at what you're achieving. Don't always look forward. Okay. It's important to have a vision, of course it is. Previous speakers are very correct when they say that you need to have a vision and a passion. You need to find that passion. I've always felt that I was different to other people. I'm sure that some of you will feel that as well. Whether you have a different energy about you, you might be frustrated because it doesn't come across in a way you want it to come across to people. Yeah, so sometimes in my younger days, I'm going back to being even in my 40s, you'd get so frustrated, you'd end up arguing with people. Now, I don't argue with people, I listen. If I don't agree with what they're saying, I'll just leave it and focus on myself. Because if you're happy within yourself, you will attract the right people, the right like-minded people as yourself. Okay. I'd like to give, and feel free to ask any questions or drop a message, and I'll answer as I go. When you started your business, did you actually think about who else could help you there and then at the start? I bet you just thought, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to start, and then I'll make some money. Then I'll go and maybe ask someone to come and join me. You have people around you now. Tech is so fantastic. The fact you're online today, we didn't have any of this when I was younger. Okay. You don't actually need money to pull yourself forward. Okay. Money will come eventually if you have a good structure and the right people around you. We've spoken about how the right network around you can be so helpful. Okay. So there you go. Derek just mentioned networks there. So thank you, Derek. It is so important nowadays that you can be here now, listening to people's stories, listening to people's experience. I'm going to give you a couple of tips today that I hope you do implement. Okay. And one of those would be to write down on an A4 piece of paper a list of 10 things that you must achieve, you would like to achieve tomorrow before you go to bed. Okay. But before you turn the lights off and go to sleep, just circle the 3 most important, or actually the 3 hardest ones that you don't think you will achieve. Okay. Go to sleep in the morning, wake up and go for those 3. The other 7 don't matter. They're just things that you would probably do because you find them easy to do. They're not necessarily going to drive your business forward. So go for the 3 hardest ones. And don't kick yourself if you don't achieve all 3. But just keep doing that every day. You'll get yourself into a routine. Because when you go to sleep, those 3 things will be circulating in your mind, I believe. Okay? And then tomorrow, you will get up and hopefully accomplish at least 2 of those 3. It's harder than you think. It's harder than you think. Okay? I want to try and explain how my journey's changed my life. Okay? So I'm sure it's going to continue changing as well. It's not going to stay the same. It never does. But the challenges that I fought, had to overcome, have been the ones that do help to shape you as a person. I've never lost my enthusiasm for helping people. I've always enjoyed waking up every morning. Well, most mornings, some are more challenging than others, but I've always been eager to accept and appreciate that life is precious. Don't waste it. Now, I'm not saying that me getting drunk and going down the pub and having late nights was wasteful, because when you're young, you can do a lot of things when you're younger. But just try and have a steady life. Okay, we're tempted by lots of things as we grow up. When we're young, we're enthusiastic. We've got more energy. We want to party. We want to stay up late. You have peer pressure. oh, I can't go home yet. It's only 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. You want to stay up because your mates are making you stay up late. Try and stick to your own personal way of life. Find what works for you. Yeah, rest is so important, but good sleep is more important. And we had a discussion this week about just even 4 or 5 hours of quality sleep is better than 12 hours of broken sleep. And that is true. Okay, very true. I also want you to think about what decisions are you not taking that are holding your business back. So just give that a little thought. Do you think about decisions and get stuck on making a decision? Okay. Is this because you're allowing your thoughts to focus on one thing and it's repetitive, so you actually can't make a decision? Okay. And that's where mentorship and being in a network, a solid network, will really help you. We talk about motivation. The motivation is something we're trying to force ourselves to get out of bed and go and do something. Yeah. If you know that every morning you're going to wake up and Fortune is going to have a chat with me at 9 o'clock and we're just going to make things happen, make them a bit fun. That doesn't need motivation, does it? You just get out of bed and you're on that call. So training your mind not to think about, oh, I need to be motivated today. What's going to get me out of bed today? What's going to make me do things? If you know you have someone to speak to every day, different people at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you'll automatically be out of bed without even thinking about it. Okay. If there was one thing you could have happen in February, what would it be? Have a think about that. There's one thing you'd like to happen in February. That's a short month, only got 4 weeks, not like January. Okay. If there's one thing you'd like to have happen in January. Now, obviously, I've traveled the world, I think 3 or 4 times in the last 3 years. I've been to 5 different continents, all in the same year, and sometimes back there 2 or 3 times. I've met, I don't know how many people in different countries, from America to Australia to Europe. And in Africa's had the biggest impact on me. Now, that might be because obviously there's different culture here, different circumstances. There's a sense of community generally is more pronounced here than in other places I've been to around the world. And I do want to thank you for that, because it has been very impactful. And I'm fortunate that I'm here to be able to travel and to meet you people, every single one of you. If I can just make a little difference to all of you, then you need to, stay in touch. Okay, speak to other people. We've set up a club here called the Ghana 100, and it's early stages. We're all learning. We're feeling our way around. So being in a community of any sort will help you think differently. Okay, it should help you think differently. And that's the idea of being in a community. Okay. Okay. I don't know how long I've been talking. Do you want to remind me? Because I can get carried away. So do remind me. Okay. I would like to say that as creatives, founders, not all of us are going to be ruthless at making and pushing and selling your business. Okay. As creatives, we come up with an idea that we think is going to make a difference to people, or is going to make us wealthy, is going to give us joy, art gives Richard pleasure and joy to do. Yeah. Would he like to sell that art and make a living from that? Yes, he probably would, full time. But I know that Richard has other outside interests which motivate him, if not more, but as much as his art. So he has a balance to life. Yeah. Yeah. And this is what we're looking for. Overall, we need a balance. We need to put ourselves into a situation where, or a place where we are happy with ourselves. If you're happy with yourself, you'll have a happy life. Okay? Without a doubt, you'll have a happy life. If you look around, when I look around me and there's people that aren't with me anymore, and there's people that aren't as fortunate as me, and there's lots of other people that are, wealthier than all of us, it doesn't mean they're happy. So look at where you are now, live in the present day, the present moment, okay, and try and find your niche for you, okay. Having 2 or 3 people working alongside you that you know that you can speak to every day, even if it's just for 5 minutes in the morning, have a little chat. What are you going to do today? What are you planning to do? How can I help you today? This all helps you move forward with your business idea. I came here with GEF in November, and it was a fantastic experience. I've had to come back because I met so many nice people. And the reason we met was because outside of my duties that I was assigned to do at GEF, I decided to just stop and chat to people. Okay? I made a conscious decision that I was going to stop and chat with people on the grass verge at the Palm Royal Court Hotel, Palm Hotel. And from that, we've ended up with a community here in Ghana trying to build something different. Okay? In the UK, we have so many networking communities, so many networking opportunities for business owners. If you ever come to London, you could probably go to 20 or 30 every single day, 7 days a week. Yeah. I don't know what you have here in Ghana, but I don't see anything that is regular, that is in-person meetings. I don't know. Maybe there is, but I haven't managed to find anything yet. So if you want to really move your business forward, join a community and make time to show up. Honestly, this is like 45 years of experience in not doing certain things. We never used to have networking events when I started. You grew by being noticed, by doing a good job. So when I go right back to my school days, when I was never late for school, I was always trying to make sure I won every race or every football match or whatever sport we were doing. I was always determined to be number one or be in the number one team. And I'm glad to say I was always chosen first to play in somebody else's team if I wasn't captain. So these are good fond memories. And now that I get asked by GEF and other companies to come and support their business, it's joining a team again, which is great. Yeah, I don't like being by myself. I do like being by myself, but I don't like always being by myself. It's nice to be involved and to see and hear other people's daily livelihoods, what they're up to, what they're fearing today. I don't know how many people I've mentored over the years. I know that I've worked in 4 companies as a consultant where I've had 200 or 300 people underneath me. I've employed, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people. I really couldn't tell you. And employing people, being responsible for their livelihood, for their development, for their self-improvement takes a lot of skill. Takes a lot of skill. Takes a lot of learning, and obviously I've changed over the years, you know. But that's all investing in yourself as an individual, and you can learn from that. And it's really rewarding that you're able to develop people and help them to move on, to maybe start their own businesses. So what I love about Ghana in particular, what's really got me in the right place, is that you are very community focused. Everybody that I've met that have come close to me since GEF, you all have an interest in other people. Okay, so don't lose that. I'm sure you won't. I'm sure you won't. And I'm looking forward to helping as many of you as I can. I'd like to know if any of you have any kind of really not hard decisions. I don't want to say hard decisions, but is there a decision that you're not making that you wish you could make, and you keep stopping from making that decision because you fear the outcome or the non-success of that outcome? Is there anything that, going back to what I said about February, anything that you'd like to see happen, just one thing you'd like to see happen in February?
Ladies and gentlemen, and this is the host Amina once again. So actually, Mr. Stephen Camilla is asking if there is any decision that we find it difficult that we want to unlock. So if you are here on board and you have any decision that you would want to make an attempt to that is very difficult for you, he wants to know. And so if you are here and you want to share that with us, we'll be very happy. Thank you. Okay, so I think on this moment, I would want to start as the host.
Okay.
And one of the biggest decisions for me to emotionally, let me say, emotionally get attached to somebody. Because the moment I'm getting emotionally attached to somebody, then something awakens in me and you start to keep everything that is within you to yourself. So it's very difficult to emotionally get attached to somebody. And I think I would love to unlock it and also try and give some people the opportunity to get to know me on that level.
So you're talking about business or personal? I'm sure you're talking about
with business. Okay, I'm fine, but this is on a personal level.
On a personal level, yeah. So I don't know. Are you afraid of showing your true self? Is that?
I'm afraid of sharing my personal true self. I'm afraid of being vulnerable, but I'm not afraid of professional self or career.
Okay. So your professional self is obviously you're in your own play, aren't you? As a professional person, you have your own dreams. You know what you want to be. You're the MD in your mind. Blah blah blah. So it's quite easy to carry that persona into a meeting. You are the boss. You are, here to close the deal. But when it comes to personal relationships, from my personal experience, it takes time, doesn't it? That's why you have to build relationships, and you can really build them through business. So if you rather than going onto these apps where you can find the ideal partner, of course, through business, you get to meet someone on a regular basis. So going back to the networking, if you said every week, once a week, you were going to meet up with a group of people at a certain hotel and have a business networking event, you will find someone in those groups that you will become more comfortable with.
Okay.
But it's
thank you. So on this, I think Stephen has also raised his hand. Another Stephen.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so Stephen Wells, please, we've given you opportunity to talk to Mr. Stephen Camilla.
Thank you.
Hi, Stephen.
Hello, that's all right.
Okay, so I think Stephen is not able to talk. We'll move to Yaira. Yaira, you said there is something you would want to unlock, and you can speak to Mr. Stephen Camilla right away.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Um, for me, it's like the fear of starting over, and on this is like on a personal level, but on a business level, I don't know how. Like, I want to start something. I want to start a business. I want to do a whole lot, but I don't know how I'll go about it. Like, because I always pray to God to give me a business idea, but it comes. But the moment I'm trying to, let's say, take a step forward or to materialize my passion or anything, like it just doesn't work for me. I don't know. That's what I
Okay.
want to know.
Okay. So do you go to any networking events besides these online ones?
You said
Do you go to any networking events, in-person networking events?
networking.
Yeah. You know what networking
Yeah.
is?
Do you actually go to networking events? That's what he's asking.
Okay. My my first ever networking event was GEF. Yeah, that was the only event I've been to. Networking
Okay.
event I've been to.
Okay. So you must come to a Ghana 100 networking event. Okay.
Yeah, I'm inside.
Yes. Yeah, but come to a personal, yeah,
Okay.
in-person meeting. Yeah. And I would
Okay.
say during February, try and come to one every week. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we end up holding it on the same day, roughly the same time, it becomes very easy for you to be able to plan. Okay. By being
Okay.
at those meetings, in-person ones, yeah, you will
Okay.
hear everybody else's fears or where they were a year ago. Yeah. So you won't, and you will learn from those. Okay. So your
Okay.
fear at the moment is stopping you from even taking the first step.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're constantly thinking about it. So I can tell that you have an entrepreneurial idea inside you. Yeah, but your fear
For
is stopping you. Your fear is stopping you from making a decision. You have to make a decision. Yeah. So I'm happy to have a chat with you, but do try and get yourself into meeting people in an environment where you can listen to other people talking, and it will help you. It will help you.
okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Mr.
you for
Stephen.
speaking up. But thank you for speaking up as well, because what you've just done is very important. Other people can see that you've spoken up about your fear. Okay. And being
Yeah.
seen and pushing yourself out there is a great step forward. So well done, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Camillari. We'd like to hear your last words because your time is up. And we will not want you to go. If you have time, you could stay on. We'll be done with the last speaker very soon so that you could come in. And if there is any question directed to you, you could answer. But if you think you have to exit for other important or equally passionate duties like this, we are pleased to have you on. Thank you.
I'm all yours this afternoon. I've allowed plenty of time. Okay. I'm all yours. I'm all yours. As founders, I would say you need to learn to make decisions earlier and quicker. Okay. Because every day is a special day, and every day you're hesitating and holding back and not making a decision, you're not going forward. Okay. So without realizing it, you're holding yourself back. Okay. So do what you've done today. Come to these events, come to the in-person events. Okay. And let's build some momentum that helps you to move forward, not just through February, but through the whole of 2026. Build a community around you. That's it.
Thank
you.
you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me see the emojis flying on the call. This has been an inspiration, and we are still on unlocking capacity, activating purpose, and driving impact. And our last speaker who just spoke to us is Mr. Steven Camila. Thank you so much for this awesome convo. We felt motivated and the need to drive our purpose and be successful. On this note, we'll be moving to our next speaker. He's a powerful speaker. When we talk about driving momentum, he's one of the people who helps the youth in driving momentum. And who are we talking about? We are talking about a man who is an apostolic teaching prophet, a spiritual science educator, and behavioral alignment coach, devoted to unblock God's divine purpose in every life. Ladies and gentlemen, he's renowned for his rare ability to unravel complex spiritual mysteries and translate them into practical transformation. He has mentored countless individuals and leaders, guiding them toward clarity, character, and divine calling. His voice is both surgical and healing, cutting through deception with prophetic precision while fostering growth and empowerment. His teachings are nothing short of transformative. It bridges the gap between ancient wisdom and contemporary application, igniting lasting change that resonates deeply within the hearts and minds of those he touches. Ladies and gentlemen, before I mention him again, let me see the emojis flying. So welcome, Mr. Jehoshaphat Quasi, Prophet. Hello, Mr. Jehoshaphat Quasi.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, grace and peace to every one of you. It's such a great delight being with you today on this global conference. And I want to thank our host and our speaker that just finished and speaking to us. And I trust that these few things I'm going to share is going to give you great value. We are all going to learn something from it. Amen. So since this is not a church program, but a business and a capacity building program, I will just be going straight to the point. I will be speaking direct, precise, and I trust that I'll give you value. Amen. So please, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. You are loud and clear.
All right. Okay. Thank you very, very much. All right. So our theme, the theme for this program or this seminar or conference is building capacity building. Amen. Is building capacity, activating purpose, and driving impact. So the underlying tone, the essence of everything is driving impact. So I'm going to play a little bit on the words, and I trust that you will pick something from it. I'm going to share with you from a behavioral alignment perspective. I'm going to speak to you on GPS. GPS. Everybody repeat after me. Say GPS.
GPS.
Yes, GPS. Now, if you are driving for impact, that means you are aiming to achieve something. And if you are aiming to achieve something, behind every successful full life in terms of business, any endeavor, there is a required behavior. Behavior simply talks about your attitude towards what you are doing. I was talking to somebody this afternoon. I was just telling the person about the law of karma. And often, karma is associated to evil things. And I said, karma is the judgment of every action. It is the outcome, the repercussion for everything you do, every action you take, every decision you make. And so if you do something good, what you get back is the karma, is the judgment. The same way, if you do nothing, the karma you get is nothing. So karma is neutral. It's not evil. And everything we want to do and achieve in life must lead us towards something. And that thing is our purpose. It's our purpose. And the essence of your life is to make impact. You are going to be remembered for impact. You are going to be known for impact. Key example, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. The Bible said, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, in the beginning, God, that is the first law of identification, self-awareness. If we are driving, if you are making things or want to drive and make impact, you need to be aware of yourself. Self-awareness is the beginning, is the starting point. Because if you don't know yourself, you don't own yourself. And if you don't own yourself, you will live your life and do things based on the opinions of people. There are 4 things required in driving impact. 4 things. I'm basing the teaching and my lectures on driving. So as a driver, your life, as a person, you are the driver. You are behind the wheels of your life. You are in charge. And if your life is going to be, it is up to you. Everyone repeat this after me. If my life is going to be.
If my life is going to be.
It is up to me.
It is up to me.
That means that you are in charge. God is not in charge of your life. You are in charge. You are in charge. And if you are in charge, then you must know 4 things. Where am I going? What do I want to achieve? What does it take to get to where I am going? Who is heading that direction that I can go with? Then give it all it takes to get there. That is how to drive impact. Where am I going? What does it take to get there? Who is heading that same direction? And give it all it takes to get there. Now, these 4 things that you need are embedded in your behavior or are determined by your behavior. And so how do you drive as a person? If you're in charge of your life, how do you drive if you don't know your GPS? How do you expect to drive impact if you don't have a GPS? And every vehicle now that we are using all have GPS. The basic meaning for GPS is your global positioning system. Everyone repeat after me, global positioning system.
Global positioning system.
All right. So if global positioning system, in business-wise, what are we referring to? We are referring to your goals, your plans, and your strategy. Because you are driving impact. You want to drive impact. So if you are driving, how are you steering yourself? You need to start from somewhere. At this moment of your life, your global positioning, everyone is positioned somewhere. So where you want to drive the impact, where you want to arrive, where you want to get to, you have to start from somewhere. That is why one of the past presidents of America, in the person of Theodore Roosevelt, said that do what you can with what you have where you are. Do what you can with what you have from where you are. So your global position system is very important. You have to start from somewhere. What are your plans? What are your goals? A person without a goal will behave like a goat. Global positioning system. If you don't have a goal, you will look like a ghost. Why? You cannot be identified. You scare people because people can't associate with you. People that want to be successful can't associate with you. So you need to have a goal, your global positioning system, bringing it to alignment to what we are talking about. Talks about your goals, your purpose, your plans, and strategies. You must have goals, what you want to achieve. 2, what plans do you have towards the goals? And 3, what strategies do you have in place to actualize the goals? Am I communicating? The Bible says that where there is no purpose, where there's no vision, the people perish. In essence, where there is vision, where there is goals, where there are goals, people will flourish. So your flourishing is in your achievement. Your flourishing and your impact is your consignment, and that consignment is in your assignment. Many people are living lives with no plans, with no goals. And if you don't have goals, you are just going to be imitating people. You will waste your time. You waste other people's effort. Because goals gives you guidelines. Goals will give you guidelines. And if you don't have goals, you will not have a system. If you don't have goals, if you don't have your GPS in place, you don't have a system. You don't have a system. You are just floating in space with no direction. You float in space with no direction. So the first question to ask yourself, what are my goals? As the year has begun, the year is 12 months divided into 4 quarters. The first quarter, January, February, March. What are your goals? What are your long-term goals for the year? Then these long-term goals, you can break them into segments quarterly. So the first 3 months of the year, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? And these things you want to do, they must push your long-term goal. They must help you achieve your long-term goal. It is breaking your long-term goals into segments. And I said your GPS is made up of your goals, your plans, and strategies. So do you have life goals? I said if you don't have life goals, you live like a ghost. You can't be identified. You can't be known. God is known for something. You must be known for something. I am known for something. What are people going to know you for? When your name is mentioned, what does it bring to the minds of your hearers? What brand are you pushing? How are you faring with reference to your goals? Are you paying your price in achieving them? What are your limitations? Your GPS, currently where you are in life right now, where you are at this age of your life, that is your GPS. This age you are is your GPS. This state of your life, financially or anywise, is your GPS. What is your position in your GPS? Are you okay? Are you fulfilled? Are you happy? When you are driving for impact, you don't look for happiness, you look for fulfillment. Am I communicating? Your goals defines where you are going. Your goals defines where you are going. Plans defines how you will get there. Plans defines how you get there. Many have goals but have no plans. Hence, they end up in shame because goals don't fulfill themselves. And like each It has been said by several people, if you fail to plan, you have already planned to fail. What are your plans? Are you working on your plans? Are you sticking to a plan? Is your plan working or it needs adjustment? Is it a written plan? If you fail to plan, you have already planned to fail. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Proper planning prevents poor performance. If you plan well, you will do well. If it is going to be, it is up to you, and it all points to your GPS. And if you are going to talk about your GPS, you are talking about self-awareness, and you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Over the years, I've had all kinds of plans and goals that have worked and those that have failed. And I've come to realize that it all boils down to one thing: strategy. When goals are going to be fulfilled, it boils to strategies. It boils to strategies. Sometimes what gives victory is not superiority of goals, it is or plans, but strategy. Sometimes what gives superiority to goals is not just plans, but strategies. Goal is all about destination. Goals are all about destination, where you are going. Planning is all about preparation, how you will get there. Strategy is all about solution, the action steps to execute and achieving those plans. So strategy is what separates boys from men. Strategy is better than tactics. Tactics is immediate, but strategy is long term. Strategy is what separates the serious from the unserious. Strategy is what separates the committed from the joker. And strategy is what separates the talkers from the doers. Strategy is all about step-by-step actions that needs to be taken. We don't stumble into greatness. We prepare for greatness. We plan for greatness. We strategize for greatness. And we set goals to be great. If you don't become great, you will hate. If you don't become great, you will hate. While you will hate others who are working in their greatness by paying the price that is required. And all this boils down to behavioral alignment. If there is one thing we need to work on, either Christians, irrespective of religious affiliation, is our behavior towards ourselves, our business, our relationships, associations. Thank you very much. Our associations and towards the things we do. Your GPS, your goals, your plans, and your strategy. Planning prepares you for the journey. Goals defines your destination. Strategy provides the roadmap for action. Where there is no vision, where there is no plan, then there is no system. So GPS, your GPS helps you to have a system. And what is system? I'm going to break system down. And you can write it. The S in system means save. The S in system is save. The Y in system is yourself. The Y in system is yourself. The next S in system is stress. Stress. The T in the system is time. The T in the system is time. The Y in the system is energy. And the M in the system is money. In all together, goals, your GPS gives you a system. And what's that system? The system is what you put in place to save yourself from stress, time, energy, and money. If you don't have a system, you will waste your time, you stress yourself, you waste your time, you waste energy, and you waste money. But when you have a system, it helps your GPS to be well defined. Why? Because you have a destination you are going. You don't go where you are not needed. You don't waste money on what is not needful. You don't stress yourself over things that you can't control. And you don't waste your time over unnecessary things. It helps you to know the difference between what is urgent, what is necessary, and important. If you and I want to drive impact, then we must align ourselves. We must put ourselves in order. And the Bible says, let all things be done in decency and in order. And doing things in decency and in order is having a GPS. Your goals, your plans, and your strategy. And your goals, your plans, and your strategy helps you to have a system. It creates a system which saves you from unnecessary stress, save you from wasting time, save you from wasting energy, and save you from wasting unnecessary money. And this helps you to be well defined. It puts you on track in driving your impact. My name is Bishop Jehoshaphat. I'm apostolic teaching prophet and behavioral alignment coach. I trust these few words I've shared with you on this topic has given you great value. I'm open for questions and answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bishop Jehoshaphat. You've taken us to another fountain. We've drunk a lot of water, and I know that by the end of our last speaker, who will be taking just a few minutes, we would have quenched our thirst, and we would go ahead to work with the GPS, which is our goals, our plan, and then also our system. Thank you so much. This has been impactful. But before, please don't go, stay tuned. Our last speaker will just take us through some quick education, and then we'll come back to the question and answer. So please, if you have any question and you think that where you are, it's inconvenience for you to say it loud, put them in the comment section, or as soon as our last speaker is done, we will give you the opportunity to ask your question verbatim. Thank you so much. This has been impactful. We are blessed. Bishop Jehoshaphat. On the next, I still want to remind you that this is Momentum to Achieve 2026, and our theme for this conversation is unlocking capacity, activating purpose, and driving impact. So, ladies and gentlemen, our last speaker is on. This wouldn't take so much of our time. Just some 2-3 minutes, we're done with our last speaker. He is known as Lawrence Nanakwesi Amoako-Boadu. He's a focused young man whose passion for growth, success, and excellence is knit together as an IT expert, digital marketer, multimedia director, public speaker, author, and a technopreneur. He's a pastor at the Alive Chapel International, Tesano, and currently the managing director at Capillum Digitals, a tech company in Accra, Ghana. He's poised to make impact in lives through his skills and values. through an empowering podcast channel called The Cockpit Drive, which advocates for self-development and enhancement, career and spiritual growth. He's a man of few words. He's just an actionable person, yet devoted to walking the principles and greatness of extraordinary men, hard work, and love for God. We no other than the person we know as Captain Larry, host for this idea, visionary for movement to achieve 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Captain Larry as he takes just 5 minutes. I'm giving him just 5 minutes to end with us as our guest speaker. Then we'll come back to questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So excited. Wow, there's so much to learn. Personally, I didn't want to speak on anything, but my team has been pressing me to at least say something. And I just want to share with you something in just 3 minutes because I just want to wrap up quickly because there's so much to learn, and I'm sure we have quite a number of people who will love to ask questions. Now, can you all see the screen that I'm sharing? Please let me know with an emoji if you see. Yes. Okay, thank you. I just want us to go through something which is driving and making waves now. The use of technology in whatever you're doing. With all what our speakers have said, a time will come now we need technology to push you to a higher dimension. So if you look on the screen, it talks about technology, the new momentum accelerator. Technology is now the drive. Back in the days, there was a time that everybody was eager to get a job. That's when the job regime was. If those who know of this Wall Street, that was the time like everybody was eager to make sales and get something done. That was I call it the job era. And an example of the Wall Street in Ghana here is Circle. Circle TikTok link. I call it the Wall Street of Ghana. But this time around, technology has taken us to a higher dimension where whatever we need is done through technology. So this period, I'd like us to just go through certain key areas. Now, when we speak of momentum has to do with three things: our speed, direction, and the system which our last but one speaker spoke about. Speed is something that everybody needs, because if you get to a place where you think you are making impact, you need speed. But the most important thing amongst all of them, which our last speaker and all the speakers have spoken about, is the direction. Our last speaker spoke about GPS, and he's one speaker I really love and learn from. Connecting with your goals, your plans, and strategy. All this thing comes together if you know the direction in which you are heading towards. But in order to have that momentum, you need to have the direction, the system in which you are using, and the speed. And all these three things are in three areas which we all have as humans. First of all, it has to do with our talent. Every human being on this earth has a talent by birth. I know people, there's one guy on this platform, I'll introduce him later. He's a talent acquisition coach, our expert. He helps people who have lost in touch with their talents find their way and their bearing. Everyone on this earth also has a vision. Our speakers have been talking about you having a vision. Our visions are born out of pain, out of our intellect, out of what we feel within. That moves me to what we call passion. Passion is something that drives you towards whatever you're going to do. So with all these three things, you'll be able to move to our next segment. Now, the world has gotten to a place where everybody and everything we do has to be seen. Technology has put us in a place that if you have something and you are indoors, nobody sees you. one thing that my coach, he was our first speaker, Efo Koku. He's my coach in terms of public speaking and bringing whatever you have out. He told me that we all of us have something we do, but if you keep mute, whatever you have will not be able to come out. Therefore, you can't make impact. That is the regime that we have got into. Everything we have, whether business, personal branding, or whatever you want to do, has to come out. If you don't bring it out, you will not be seen, you will not be heard. In other words, your impact, you will not even be giving room to even make impact. So this, I have 4 areas which you can see from our screens. Now, I want us to look at these things in the area of business. Every business has a platform which they showcase whatever they have in terms of either informative or something they are selling. It's either they are selling a product or a service. That platform is called a website. Time immemorial. In America, before there was a time that this thing came into being, business plan. During the war front time, where the job regime was, everybody was seeking to make sales and everything. So those who had businesses wanted either investors or want to be seen. That was when business plan came in. But out of that was when the websites also came in, because there is something that needs to be seen. People have to get to know what you have. It's either a product or a service. Some information is going to be given out. That has moved us to this time. So if you are here and you have a business, it will be fit to have at least a platform where you can showcase it. It's either a social media platform, that moves me to my next point, social and content platform. We all have our social media platforms where, aside the website, we push our product out there or let people know is I call it the mini screen or a portal TV, because everybody has it. Wherever you are, you can have access to it. So if people are not able to even get to the main stream of seeing our website on our laptops or desktop, there's a way for them to also see on our phones. That is why we have websites that are responsive. We can be able to see them on our phones. So with our social content and our social life, all these things help. Just few days, this guy we all know, if you are fond of this movie, Coming to America Part 2, this speed guy who came to Ghana was the prince in the movie. Look at what he did. And there was this Ghanaian who I love so much, with the mayor. He has taken charge of the social space, projecting, just telling stories. He is just a strategic storyteller. He's using that as a means to just put out information out there. Then we have businesses and WhatsApp automation. Here, those of us who have WhatsApp business, if you're a business person here and you don't have it, I believe you need to have it. There's an option for automation where, we humans have so many things we have doing. So if you automate your system on WhatsApp and all other platforms, even websites also have automations and chatbots. If you are conversant with all these things, they also help. So if you're a business person, you have all these things, it also helps. Now, this AI tools and analytics also helps businesses make decision making. If you're a startup here, we can link behind closed doors, and you see how best my team and I will help you in terms of using the AI tools in making decisions and also analytics. Now we move to branding, making yourself visible. One mentor I watch so far is Busi. He has built his brand. Even his appearance alone calls for authority, because systematically he has been able to present himself out there with the little knowledge he has. Now, one thing I would like to advise or recommend all of us is, if you have something small doing, don't be reluctant to push it out there. With time grows. everything we do grows. So once you're able to push whatever you have out there, make sure you are using the right means. That brings me to the next stage of credibility. If you are out there and people see that whatever information you are bringing out there is genuine, people follow you. Now, if you say that I have this thing out there, you people can just go for it. That is authority. You have that grounds because you've been able to present yourself, build your credibility, and be consistent. So you have that authority with you. Now, with that information, you'll be able to generate leads as a business person. One way to attract customers and clients is through generation of leads. Is one aspect of digital marketing. Now, every business or even individuals who are even brand ambassadors, these influencers will know they have a way of generating leads. And the most important part is content systems. Content systems. As a business person, as a brand, you should be able to put yourself together and create a structure, a system where you'll be putting out content. It should be strategic. You should know what you're supposed to post at every point in time. So if a follower is following, he knows that maybe Monday, Mr. Steven is posting a newsletter. Tuesday, he'll be doing this. On the third day, he'll be doing this. So there's a systematic way of doing that. Now, when you have that, that brings you as a business person to a place of making sales, because you'll be able to generate leads, create content, the people get to know of it. So if you put a product or a service out there and people are interested, you bring them on board, then you take it from there. Then supporting systems. Supporting systems are having other AI platforms we have. Let's say we have a website. You can add an AI chatbot to it. It's not all the time that you'll be present online. So if someone has a question, we have programmed your system in a way that the AI itself has a way of answering those things for you. Now to wrap it up, there are three areas which I want us to focus at the end of everything that we are going to do, with all the insights and experience and knowledge that was given, that has been given by our speakers. You should be able to move. Don't be stagnant. You should be able to move. And moving should be strategic. It should be in a way that you'll be able to move from one stage to the other. Once you have your GPS, once you have your structures, your goals, your behavior is in check, your talents and everything is in check, you'll be able to move from one stage to the other. And once you are moving, make sure you are able to reach greater heights. Whatever, if you move and you're able to reach one person, make sure the next stage you're moving, move to 5 people. And once you're able to do that within a period, just as Mr. Cameron said, he started as a business person from 18 years, and with this experience and knowledge, if you're able to move from point A with the necessary knowledge you have, you learn upon it, you learn your skills day in and day out. As Efo said, you are also putting your health in check. You'll be able to last for the period. First time when my team and I we met Mr. Steven and he was celebrating his birthday at 64, he was so full of energy. And with that kind of consistency comes with experience, comes with knowledge. You should be able to learn every day. You must be able to build on your skills. And most importantly, put your health in check. With that, you'll be able to last long. And I believe with all this information from the previous speakers to myself, we'll be able to make much impact. We'll be able to gather great momentum and be able to move into greater heights. So thank you for having me. I believe this will be of a great benefit to all of us. We are all learning. From the first speaker to myself, we are still learning. Make sure you learn, make sure you take a step, make sure you move from one stage to other. And I believe with time, you create a brand, you'll be able to be seen, you'll be able to last long with consistency. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Captain Larry. I told you that this session is going to be a real momentum for you to achieve your 2026 and beyond goals. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me see the images waving us in the chat box or online as we're seeing it, because I have been empowered and you are empowered. We all have been empowered. So please, if you have questions, I'm giving room out to just about 4 people to ask questions at any question from any area to any of our guest speakers, our resource persons. Thank you. Don't be shy. Feel free. If there is any suggestions or recommendation you would want to add, we are pleased to have you on. Thank you. So Richard, or it's Derek. Yeah. Derek, please, you can talk. Derek, I can see your hands up. You can answer any question. Okay. So I can see within the chat box, Yaya Timcha says yes. Comes out again with the love emoji. Gentle Glow says GPS. Joy says powerful. Derek has just listed some of the things he's be able to learn from this session alone. It says self-awareness, in charge, know where I'm going, what does it take, who is also heading towards that direction, have a GPS, develop a strategy towards every goal or plan. Strategy is better than tactics, etc. And greatness is not stumbled upon. And guys comes to say thank you for the powerful teaching, Bishop. And also Derek says in reference to imitation by Master Josephat, in the gig ceremony where digital platforms are enhancing success, there's intentional copying others' goals, plans, and strategies that align with your purpose, leading to potential. Bishop Josephat, is Bishop on here with us? Bishop, I think Bishop has left, so I'll be giving this to Mr. Sally Gageto to answer. Mr. Sally, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Manuel.
Yeah, I'm here with you.
Yes, please, I have a question for you. Are you here with us?
Yes, can one of the devices be muted?
We can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here with you. Your devices, two
Hello,
of them
Mr.
are
Sally.
on.
Hello, I'm here.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Mr. Sally, can you check your microphone for us, please?
Yes, we can hear him.
Can you hear from us? I don't know why I can't hear me. Oh,
yes, I can hear from you. I can hear.
Anyway,
and anyone who can hear me.
But I can hardly hear you.
Yes,
please,
I can hear you. I can hear him perfectly.
I don't know what the problem is.
So
please,
we can hear him. We are hearing him.
Yeah,
I can also hear him.
And you can also hear me. So I think maybe the challenge
is if you can clearly hear me, then this question is to Mr. Fanuel Seli. I'm reading the question again. It's in twofold. So the first part is in the gig ceremony, where digital platforms are enhancing success, does intentional copying others' goals, plans, and strategies that align with your purpose limit your potential? So, Mr. Sel, you can answer this for us.
Can you read? Can you post the question in the comment section so that I'll read it myself in the chat session?
Yes, the question is in the chat box. The question is in the chat box.
Yeah, so post the question in the chat section so that I read it, because thank you. So I have the question now. It's saying that in the gig economy. Can you all hear me very well?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay. So let me first take the question again and get the understanding very well. So in the gig economy where digital enhancing success, does intentional copying others' goal, plans, and strategy that align with purpose limit your potential? If it does, how do you stay motivated? It depends first. I'll say it depends first on how you do it. Okay, if for instance you are just you look at me, I do public speaking. I'm a book writer. I'm an author, and maybe you don't know the story behind or the motivation behind what is pushing me. So you just surface level copy. You just mimic my goals, you mimic my plans and strategies without any adaptation. Then you'll be limited. So maybe you don't adapt my kind of lifestyle. You don't know what I do with my time, but all you know is, or maybe every year Fanuel launches a book, so I also want to launch a book. That's the goal you set for yourself. You would realize that you will not be able to achieve those goals because the circumstances surrounding your life, your strength, your weaknesses, and even sometimes timing are different. We all have uniqueness when it comes to these things. And then what we work towards, the goal may be the same, but strategies would be different. The way at which I decide to write, say, 200 pages of a book would be different from the way Larry would also want to do same, or any other person would want to do same. So just copying the surface level goals, copying my goals at the surface level, or my strategies at the surface level without adapting to the kind of lifestyle I live to achieve those goals would limit you. Secondly, if you are not intentional about aligning, you are just copying. Fanuel wakes up every day and he prays. So I'm also doing it. But you are not aligning to your purpose as to why you are praying. There should be a reason why you want to pray every morning. You should just wake up, and because it's a norm, that's what most people do. So I'm praying. Or you just don't wake up every morning and pick a book and read certain pages. There should be a reason. There should be a goal and a purpose. You are reading for context base. You are reading to learn something. So if you are not copying just on the surface base and you are being intentional about it, then it is not wrong. It won't limit you. And the other thing is that if you stay motivated and avoid weariness, being motivated would be the best. You see, even with a GPS like guidance system, okay, it's easy to feel drained in the gig economy. Like I am directing you. You are going to Ashaiman. You are using the GPS, and it's making you use corners. You are not getting to your destination. You become tired. You become demotivated. So your copying should be in a certain frame. It should be in a certain context. Don't just do Control-C, Control-V, copy and paste. You should anchor to a certain action in your purpose, which is your why, the energy source. Why am I copying this person? Why am I doing this particular thing? There should be a reason for you. And then the goal that you are copying should be broken down. So Fanuel's goal is that in the next 10 years, he wants to publish 100 books. And you see that and you also want to copy. Are you breaking it down to know how many books he wants to publish a year? How many books he even wants to write in a month to get to that limit? So you break down those goals to the very micro moments so that you don't become demotivated. And your energy shouldn't be static. It should be rotational. You should have this high focus, okay? It should be task-oriented, creative. You should have that creative mindset before copying. For instance, I see Nike and I want to copy how Nike make their shoes. I should be able to study Nike to the extent that I know what people talk about their shortcomings. Giving you a simple example, okay? You realize that iPhones always release their phones after Samsung has brought their phones out. And the reason is simple. You can go and research. There's a lot of videos saying that online. That iPhones always want to wait for the first few customers of Samsung to make reviews of the things that they do not like about the new Samsung phone. And then iPhones make amends to that and become better. So if you want to copy someone, you should look at their whole life. You shouldn't just pick a portion. You shouldn't just be static as to, okay, this is the trajectory they are picking, so I'm following suit. But you should look at what can I do differently in addition to what I'm picking from them to be unique. So in a nutshell, copying in this gig economy system doesn't limit any potential. To be frank, it does not limit any potential if it is done intentionally. If you do that and adapt to the person's way of life, and you do that with a purpose-driven mindset, you would achieve your goals too. So that's my answer to the question.
Wow, that was powerful. I really like that. Using the analogy of iPhone and Samsung. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Derek. I think that was the first part of the question. And so we are going to the second part of the question, which says that if it does, how do you stay? I think you've treated that. So we are going to Fortune. Fortune, if you have a question, because I think I saw your hands. Okay, please, anybody else who wants to ask questions, because we have Mr. Stephen Kamilari here, we have Mr. Fanel Seligabeto, and some other speakers on board. If you have anything you want to add, any suggestion or anything, so we can finish. We want to finish this exactly 2 p.m. Ghana time, or Greenwich Meridian.
And hello, Fortune here.
Yeah, Fortune.
Yes, I think I would like to add a little to what Mr. Seli spoke about.
Okay.
So he mentioned something of having a general perspective or a frame over what someone's life is before you can copy to achieve yours. But I would love to say that obviously you don't have that access to know in totality what someone's life presents. So in copying, it's very important to know where you are, the trajectory in which you want to go, and in learning, it's not to get the point of copy and paste, but then the wisdom is understanding where you're heading and what you can learn, the aspects from which you can learn from them and input it into your life to make it perfect for you to implement. So it all boils down to understanding where you are and how you can learn from another person and implement it in your life in a way that it fits perfectly in your context. So this is a little I'd love to add.
Thank you so much, Fortune. And before we end everything, I want to go to Mr. Kamilari to just give us his experience so far, and if he would want to join us again for such an insightful conversation. Mr. Seven.
Yes, I'm here. I'd like to say that all been very insightful. Great anticipation from everybody who's joined in for anticipating, and yeah, it's brought back lots of fond memories of my time as an entrepreneur. So hopefully I shall recapture some thoughts today, make a note, and end very happily to say have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you so much. And before you go, I'd like to know one of the things that really gave me something to think about is when you took us through your childhood or your early stage moments when you were a driver. And I'm like, whilst you are taking us back to your days of old, we are yearning to meet our future. And that is, I think, the stages and transients of life. The old would always want to go back to their prime and see how things were, and the youth or the young will also want to meet their future. And so all what she said was very insightful, realistic, and whatever that you've educated us on we would put in action. And the next time we have you, it's going to be full of testimonies. I pledge.
Thank you very much. I think we're always looking forward. It doesn't matter what age you get to, you keep looking forward. And what I was trying to get across really was that your younger self, don't lose that. Okay, so we all have a drive to grow and to make impact. Just don't lose your inner child, I suppose. Yeah, stay young
so
and have
much.
fun. Okay.
You too. Bye. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to Mr. Fanel Seligabeto, who is also on the line again. Mr. Fanel, Fanuel, sorry, Mr. Fanuel. Before we go, just something for us to think about.
Okay, I think since it's my final words, I can maybe show my face small.
Love it.
So this is me. So to say to everyone is that we should all just find ourselves, what our purpose is. We should discover ourselves. We should find out who we are. I think my book I launched last year says that man know thyself. Everyone should know themselves. And after knowing yourself, it gives you that clarity of purpose, that clarity of what angle of life you are towing. Without self-discovery, you can't even discover your purpose. So first, if you realize that you are just copying and it's not aligning with you, just take a pause, just reflect within yourself, meditate upon what makes you who you are, and then discover that aspect of you. And then you realize that you can continue discovering your purpose, developing your purpose, moving on in life, because we want to have all those big ideas in your head come as a reality before the maker calls us. We don't want to take them back into the graveyard. Thank you all for having me, and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Fanuel Seligabeto, as our speaker, one of our speakers for this Moment to Achieve 2026. We are pleased to have you on board. And to all of you who stayed, we want to say thank you to you. We love you so much. It's been 3 hours, 11, 12, 1, 2. It's been 3 hours, 3 minutes so far. And I've never seen any online event staying 2 to 3 hours, unless you invite me for the next one, which I'm going to be your host for this. But I want to remind you of our monthly edition of our 28th February, which is coming to happen on 28th February. Our next session is going to be on the 28th February. So after you have your chills with your Val Day, your Valentine, your friends and family, stay tuned to get rewind by another episode from us on the 28th of February. And we have our book. Captain Larry, our host, has his book, which is Identifying Me, Unlock Your True Potential. Identifying Me, Unlock Your True Identity. So please do well to get this book and read and support Captain Larry, because he has a lot for you. And also, don't forget that our first speaker, Mr. Efokoko Mauto, also has a public speaking training, context and training. Public speaking training and context, which I was also part of last year's participants, and it has been very, very, very good for me in terms of my career as an MC, public speaker, and host for events. This is what I'm doing, and I believe you're loving it. My name has been Amina Alspana. If nobody has anything to add, again, I think we will call it a day, and we love you from Team Captain Larry. We love you so much. God bless you. I think Fortune has something to say. Fortune.
Yes,
Fortune,
I have a question for Mr. Sally based on his final words.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's consider this analogy of someone who has a clear sense of where they want to go, what they want to do, and they hit a rock bottom. And now it gets to that point where it becomes a huge challenge to really identify who they are, to be able to move forward. What do you say to such a person? Because they were in a place where they knew, this is what I want to do. This is how I see myself. This is where I want to go. But then life happens and they fall in that pit of uncertainty. What do you say to such a person?
Okay, so That's a great question, and thank you for it. I think one of the things we do not consider, or we not that we do not consider, we tend to lose focus on in trying to identify ourselves or in trying to find ourselves, is that it's not about our wants to be, it's not about what you want to be or what you are envisioning to be. It's about what innate thing you have that you can build upon. So sometimes we lose focus on what our values are, what principles that guides your decision. You see, that is why you see someone doing something and you're like, why are they doing it like this? If it were you, you would have done it differently. It is because both of you are different and we all have different values guiding us. We all have different perception about life and even the people. So if we don't reflect on the values that guide us because of our upbringing, values like our integrity, values like excellence, our creativity, we would always want it to be like, I want to be this, and I am not being able to. So you see it as a failure. But you see, at that moment where you hit rock bottom, those are the very best moments to discover yourself. Those are the times you need to go off every other thing. Like, we need to take rest. Like I was mentioning in my book, one of the subtopics in the book that I took time to write more about is the issue of rest. You see, even the Bible says when God created the world in 6 days, after the creation, he rested. That is, rest is not always an absence of doing nothing. It is not that you go totally doing nothing, but you see, the things that are stressing you, because you said you've hit rock bottom, the things that are around you that are giving you headache are the things that you need to take this rest from. You need to take a step back from, and then reflect again on it. Think again about it. What did I do that brought me here? What was I doing wrong? What was I doing right? Then you should recognize your strength and your talent. Very important. You see, until we do this, your understanding of your passion, you would end up not discovering yourself. So one, reflect on what you have done to bring you to where you are. Identify the strengths, the weaknesses, the things you did right, the ones you didn't do right, the things you should have done that you couldn't do. Mistakes are part of life. You learn from those mistakes, and then you search on. And then after identifying that, you should come to a point where you understand your passion. Some people just see things and then they think it's their passion. They don't, okay, someone wakes up, I think my passion is photography. And they don't even want to understand the whole concept of what photography is. They don't understand the activities that lead to a photographer choosing a certain frame, choosing a certain kind of lighting system. And they say it's their passion and they are not able to deliver, and clients are not coming. So you understand the passion. You read a lot, you ask questions, you get mentors. That's when mentorship becomes important. You align with people that are like-minded. And then at the end of the day, you realize that you didn't just hit rock bottom, but you went through life trajectory to learn valuable lessons that would move you forward to other heights. So this is how best I am. If any other person has another thing to add to it, we can add up. Thank you very much.
I think on this note, if you can share with us your contact or in the chat box or the in-call message, that would be very, very helpful. Because we've spent more than 3 hours online, and I believe that we need to retire with this conference and meet some other time on the 28th of February. And so thank you so much for this explanation, and to our cherished audience, thank you so much. And the same chat box, the earlier contacts I've posted, is for you to get in contact with Captain Larry when it comes to events like this, and also our events if you need clarity, and for his book as well. So you can also reach him out on 024 645 9363. 024 645 9363. And on this note, I want to give a mention to all our audience who have stayed through. But before then, let me say shout out to Mr. Stephen, Camilla again, and also Fanuel Selika Beto, and to Efo Kokumauto as our first speaker, Bishop Jehoshaphat Korte, and as well as our host, Captain Larry. So I want to say a very big thanks to Chiwendu Winifred, Derek Natekan, Ikwecha, Chibuke Mira, King Samdela Creation, Stephen Wealth, and Yaya Sencha, and everybody who joined anyhow. Thank you so much. We are grateful. We hope we could have done better by extending the time, but I know that on 28th February this is going to be another fire to propel us to have the momentum to achieve our success for 2026. My name is Amina Abisibanan, and I am pleased to be your host or moderator for this first conference for our year. I hope that if you have any MC or hosting or moderating and you want me to do it, I'll be pleased to do it for you. Thank you so much. On this note, we'd love to say bye-bye.